y'all doing? This is Kenny from the Walking Dead game. Well, actually, it's Gavin Hammond. I played him in the game, but it's not important. The important thing is you're listening to The Gaming Outsider.
Welcome to the Gaming Outsider podcast. This week, Zack and Jacob join me as we discuss some of our favorite fan-made games from over the years. In news, we have some solid info on Silent Hill F and Space Marine 3. New games we're talking about this week include a cozy, environmentally friendly game called Spilled, an early access dungeon-crawling roguelike called Odinfall, and a Western-themed game called Ammossum. Finally, Dave stops by to tell us about his experience with a game called Guards 2 Chaos in Hell, and Mark picked up a beat-em-up based on the Phantom comic. This is The Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to The Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community, which can be found at thegamingoutsider.com or on our Discord server. There's a link in the show notes. You can also find us on facebook.com/groups/TheGoCast. It is Tuesday, March 18th. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me are my good friends. For the first time in like a month, I've seen this guy's face, Mr. Zack Parkerson. What's up, man?
Audentes fortuna juvat.
See. I don't know what that means.
Fortune favors the brave. It's the it's a favorite saying of good Sir Hans Capon.
Nice. Dude, it's good to see you. It's literally been a month since I've seen your face. Because you were gone for 2 episodes. True, man. I was gone last week because I was sick as a dog. And then, the extra week in between. So it's been a month. It's kind of crazy. Going through Zack withdrawal.
I missed you. I was thinking about you. Yeah.
Aw. In the shower?
Yeah, when I was laying, I couldn't sleep at night because I was just thinking about you.
Also joining us, a guy I saw just a couple hours ago, Mr. Jake Gunderson. What's up, man?
I don't get that level of like thought process from anybody. I feel sad. I don't feel remembered.
Yeah, you're really a third wheel right now.
You should feel lucky you got invited. That's all I'm saying.
Hi. How's everyone doing tonight?
We are good. If this is your first episode of The Gaming Outsider, I'm your host, and I'm the editor-in-chief of the website. Zack is our senior editor. Jake is a co-host, and he does a lot of behind-the-scenes work for The Gaming Outsider and as well as R2V2, our video game convention. And we are here to talk about video games. We start the show off with the news. We talk about games we've been playing, and then we have a topic. And this week we are talking about fan-made games. Looking forward to doing that. But before we get to all that, let's talk about some of the games we've been catching up on. Jacob is laughing at me. Zack, we're going to start with you because it's been a minute. What have you been playing that's not necessarily brand new?
Well, so the Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Still, putting time into that. It's a pretty long game, in case you're curious.
I've heard,
but it's good the whole way through. Not nice. Every game could make the forgery at the silver mines this exciting, but I was all in. For instance,
okay.
That's a difficult topic to make exciting, and yet I was excited.
Yeah.
so this game, highest of recommendations. I beat Space Marine 2 because I had started that a couple weeks.
That took a long time for you to play that game.
Yeah, well, what am I gonna do? Not play Kingdom Come?
Well, no, I mean, I feel like that was a game I think we were all excited about that one, and then it's got co-op, and then we don't play games together ever, so.
Yeah, we really should. Play some
we
Dead
should.
Space 3 or something.
We should.
One day we'll play that Dead Space 3 co-op campaign we talk about every year.
Yeah, see, the problem is that I don't have any time off in October, like around Halloween season.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not. I mean, I guess there's like Columbus Day or something. That's like one day, but we really just need to because I want to play it during spooky season, right?
Sure, you want to be thematically appropriate.
Your job.
Yeah, I mean,
quit your job.
Yeah. You might be happier.
Quit your job.
Oh, I would definitely be happier.
Quit your job.
Let me tell you about the space race.
Dude, ancient Rome got there.
Ancient 500 BC when the space race happened. The joys of being an 8th grade teacher, guys. Let me tell you. Anyway.
Yeah. So finish Space Marine 2. Fun game, dumb story. I don't think that's much of a shocker.
I think CB would fight you on that, but he loves him.
Yeah, because he got all in on the lore right after that game.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't see
actually.
It. I'm happy to explore Warhammer through some other video games, but I didn't finish this game thinking, oh, dude, I got to read the 52 book Horus Heresy book series, man.
No,
Yeah.
Just don't.
no.
Yeah. It's no new Jedi Order. Continue to play Civilization 6 with my wife. She's playing as Japan. I'm playing as America, as you should.
Wait, you can play that co-op?
Yeah, you can pass the controller like worm style.
Wow, that's a reference.
I don't know. Dude.
Holy
played a
cow!
lot
I
of
haven't
Worms.
played Worms and. Did you really pass the controller in Worms on PlayStation?
Yeah, to me and my brothers all the time.
Oh man, I thought we always
Yeah,
had at
that was
least
a-
two control. I guess if you had more than two players, you would have to, right? Didn't have a multi-tap.
Right. Well, no, we weren't rich enough for
Multi-tap.
multi-tap. No. Yeah, you just pass your controller down the line, and then when your littlest brother's losing, he just he just takes your turn anyway. Just throws a holy hand grenade at your own guys, and you're like, "Cool, we're a loser."
Nice.
Yeah, Civilization 6. I don't know if you listened last week, Scott,
I did.
but I'm playing as America. I'm going for a faith and/or domination victory, the
Mhm.
American way, and
True words have not been spoken.
and it's been a great deal of fun. Poland is scared crapless of me. I already went to war with Poland once and got them to give me war reparations of like a bunch of money
Oh
and
man, I
like
almost
some
called you a name.
strategic resources. Was that like a Nazi? What are you gonna call me?
No, it
but
was a certain P word,
I don't
political
know.
figure.
Oh,
it's not Poland.
Okay. Yeah.
It's,
Oh,
Oh my god, I had the wrong country.
Oh my
wow.
god!
I have a
You're
brain
being
fart.
infected by the eighth graders.
I know they're rubbing off on me, guys.
No wonder the eighth graders
Yeah.
are so bad at everything.
I know, guys. If this is your first show, I apologize. My brain is fried after last week. Oh, anyway.
So yeah, I accepted their terms of surrender. Then just put every single unit I had outside of their borders and just went to war again. So that's how I roll in Civ. I've never played before, so it's quite a learning
Any
experience.
Civ or just
This is my first time playing Civ. Period.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
you're playing as America. Your wife is playing as Japan. Why aren't you going for the
Mhm.
three-peat? Just drop a third one on them.
Get a little
Just drop a third.
bomb. I'm
drop a
trying,
third.
dude. It's hard to get. I got to get nuclear development. It's tough.
Right.
Yeah.
So
She-
Civ 6 is the hexagons, right? Like they did that in
Yeah.
5, I think is where they started that.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah,
see. I assumed it was always hexes.
No, like when the first civilization was just squares, like old school.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
And then Civ Rev almost did like, if I remember correctly, Civ Red kind of did like a globe thing where it was almost
what?
like a large.
I played the
Go ahead.
demo for Civilization Revolution
Okay.
on 360 because you were like, it was almost like the camera was like behind the back of the soldiers. It was
Yeah.
really low to the ground. And you would kind of move them grid by grid. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but yeah, the original was just like grid by grid, and like, man, I loved the first Civilization. I played it on Super Nintendo. I know it was on PC, but I
a
actually
horrifying
convinced my
way.
dad to buy that game for me because I said, "Hey, it's like educational. It's like learning history and
It's
all."
educational.
And
Lies.
Dude, what's more
Lies.
educational than Edgar Allan Poe writing The Raven in Japan, just like in real
yeah,
life?
yeah.
Or,
Hey, it
or
worked.
Jonah. No, let's not forget when Joan of Arc took to arms on behalf of America in the year
Yeah,
1260 BC.
You know what's funny?
Anyway, that game,
Did I-
the game is it's fun, dude. It's so fun.
oh,
It's
isn't
like
it
a board
addicting?
game where you don't have to do any of the math.
right? Yeah.
It's really nice. Yeah, it is.
And
really
that
nice.
that was like one of the very first games I ever played where I was like, all right, just one more turn. Just one more turn. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like that was good. And you know what's crazy is I downloaded Civ 6 on my Switch. Like I just had a
really?
hankering to play it, and because I've never played it. I got it on one of those like dumb deals where like it was a pricing error to get a digital
Oh,
copy of
okay.
the game.
Yeah,
I got it
dude,
for like
you're-
$4 or something, and I was like,
You're good at that.
yeah, I'll play this one day. And I didn't.
Snatch.
No. I mean, it was like $2.99 on the PSN last week. I assume in honor of Civ 7 coming out, or not
Yeah.
last week, but like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Great game, dude. I don't know why you
It
would
is.
need a new civilization. It feels like this one would last you many, many years.
I mean, yeah, it just seems like it. But
The
from what I hear,
rise
like
and fall.
the changes are
That's
very,
the name of the
very
expansion.
Did
Huge.
you know that, or were you just okay? Anyway,
Well,
go on. What else have you been
anyway.
playing, Zach?
And then my commute to work has gotten longer, so I have a wider wider breadths to play games on the bus. So I figured
Mhm.
perfect time to finally play Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2 The Sith Lords. I say finally play because, the original Xbox version is infamously just not done. And but on Steam Deck, you get access to mods. I have the restored content mod, so I have the actual fan restored proper version of the game.
Nice.
That's nice.
Ties into the topic well.
I was just gonna say that.
No, no.
So this game, pretty good. Very slow start, which I remembered. So I'm glad I was prepared for. And by slow start, I just mean like you're just like walking around a space station for 2 hours with very little character interaction. So it takes
I
a
feel
while
like
to
I
get
did that
going.
in the first one. Like that was the
Wow.
majority of the beginning.
Yeah.
I sat on that one planet for like talking to everybody and like resolving every quest I could before leaving.
I wish there was someone to talk to in the opening of KOTOR 2, but there's simply not.
Oh, really?
But I did get to the first planet. Kreia is an incredible companion character, which every KOTOR 2 fan knows, but she's wonderful. I appreciate she's willing to tear down the idea of the Star Wars universe in interesting ways with the Force. So compelling stuff. I can't wait to see, how differently I appreciate it being older now.
Gotcha. Looking forward to hearing how that wraps up. Jacob, how is Monster Hunter Wilds doing for you? I know you beat it. You're doing post game stuff now.
I have such a double-edged sword with this release because
Yeah.
there are lots of things there needs to be a discussion on this show between like quality of life and just easy games, because there are so many things that I see communities talking about how Wilds added such quality of life to all of these different aspects of the game, but really they just made the game ridiculously easy. And it actually makes me angry playing the game because there's I feel like there's no challenge. Like, yes, in the hunt, there's like you versus the monster, okay, blah, blah, whatever. But other than that, everything else just seems to be really easy. Finding the monster, there's no point in doing anything. You just press up on the D-pad, it takes you right there. You make potions. Yeah, you just press
Isn't
up
that
on
the whole
D-pad.
point?
Yeah, it's Monster Hunter
right.
without the hunter. So there's just a monster.
Just monsters. All right.
But yeah, well, I mean,
Monster Hunter for me, Wilds.
Yeah. World did it with the idea of you had scout flies, and the scout flies would eventually learn where the monster was, so you didn't have to go looking for it. You just ran right to it. Rise posted the monster up on the map, and then you took your dog to just run to it, and now you have whatever it is, your mount. It's some bird name with a weird name, and I can never remember it. But yeah, you just press up on the D-pad, and it takes you directly to the monster that you mark, and then you hunt it.
Defeats the purpose, like the fun of calling it a hunt.
Before it was never marked. There was never an easy way to find it. You either remembered where it spawned, or you listened for roars in the background to figure out if it was in the next area. Or yeah, that was basically what it was. Just a little in the distance roar. Or you just ran around until you eventually found it, which could take 5-10 minutes sometimes, because maybe you're going the opposite direction that it's going. So eventually you run into it.
Well, if you remember, we saw Back to the Future 2, and Elijah Wood told us you have to use your hands. It's like a baby's toy. So we're getting closer to that stage where they want the game to play it for you. So,
and another
Elijah
thing
Wood's in Back to the Future 2.
Yeah, the scene I'm talking about where he's playing Wild Gunman, and the kids are like, "You mean you have to use your hands? It's like a baby's toy." One of those kids is Elijah Wood.
Elijah Wood. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Jake. I was just.
I'm gonna have to go look that up. That's interesting piece of information.
He's very, very small child, like pre-North, I think. If I remember, he was very young.
But either way, I could go on forever about how there's just things in this game that just make it way too easy, and it's a far cry of what it used to. I am. I really want to. I wanted the struggle. Back in the day, it used to be a thing where what was the hardest game, Dark Souls or Monster Hunter? And there was conversations all over the internet, and tables brought up and statistics and all that kind of stuff. One of the biggest things
where's your hipster beard? You need one.
all with a table that was out there, one of the things was on Dark Souls you could lock onto lock onto your enemies, and so you'd always be looking at them. In a Monster Hunter, you couldn't do that. You couldn't do that until World, and so there was always this thing where you were constantly like flipping your camera around wherever, and if you lost track of the monster, it was behind you and you didn't know what it was doing, so you couldn't prepare for the next attack.
Interesting.
So
interesting.
Do you think Capcom is correct that the reason everybody loves Monster Hunter, the new Monster Hunter, so much is because of the story?
No.
Because that was part of their press release about why they think this one sold so well is because of the story.
I could probably do a frame by frame story comparison from Wilds to World. It is basically the same thing with different characters. It's a different setup, but I don't know. I wasn't impressed with the story, and going back and like actually looking at some of the stuff, I was like, oh, that's this point. Oh, so there should be a median monster before the big monster. And then of course there was one, and it was kind of predictable. I didn't know what it was going to be, but I knew it was supposed to be there.
Okay.
Cool. But what's up with the blonde blacksmith lady? I'd like to know more about her. What's going on with her?
Her name is nothing really. I think her name is Gemma.
Oh wait, no. Well, she's hot. That's good enough.
But
she doesn't need a story.
There is a mod out right now. There is a creature called the Congalala. It is a giant baboon looking creature. It's kind of like a monkey that farts on everyone. And the mod the mod community has taken her model and put it on the Congalala, and so she's running around the woods farting on people.
Whoa.
You just can't trust the PC community.
No.
I just looked up Gemma.
Yeah?
I need to play Monster Hunter Wilds.
That's what I'm telling you, dude.
Holy cow.
Scott and I are finally going to play a game together.
That like top ponytail thing, man?
Are you guys going to share one controller?
I don't know. Can you play Monster Hunter one-handed?
No. I mean, well,
that's
with
what
the auto walk.
You do the buttons, I'll do the joystick. You know
right.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, there we go.
Anyway, Jacob, I know last week you talked about Potion Shop Simulator. You still playing that?
Yes, and I have finally done it. I have finally found a way to break this game.
That's like your goal with all of these games, is just to break them.
So when you're selling stuff in your store, when you put stuff on the shelves with your hand and take them off, in the code, it puts the ID of the object you had on the shelf. And then when you use your hand and remove the object, it takes the ID off of the shelf. But if you take a basket that you can carry multiple stuff in and remove items from the shelf, it leaves the ID on the shelf. Then you save and exit, and when you load back in, there's a new item on the shelf. And so
you're glitch breaking the game. You're not like,
that's basically what I try to do. One way or another, I try to break it.
Yeah, man, good job cheating. Appreciate it.
Right.
I'm sure. Yeah.
I mean, is it cheating?
And you know
really?
what?
It's not my fault.
Like any
I didn't go out of my
business, there's some cheating involved.
No, I plan on, when I write my review, I'm going to make a comment to the development team, because there's only 2 people in that, so I'm assuming they're not really playtesting their game all that much. So I'll tell them about it. But
all right,
I'm trying not to cheat as much as possible in that game, but it's getting really hard towards the end because the requirements to make the potions is getting out of hand.
Gotcha.
Well, at least to sell to people is getting out of hand. But anyway.
All right. I know you guys, Kevin talked about it last week, but I got to mention Baldur's Gate 3 completion.
Yeah,
I know he talked
stole your
about
thunder.
Hey, it's my fault. I got sick. I
thought it was over. I thought it was over. No.
I had to mention.
Well, never ends.
Here's why I have to bring it up again, because number one, that game is awesome. But I have been asked, or I've been tasked with talking to you two specifically, Zack and Jake, because he wants to do another campaign. And he wants to I haven't told you guys this yet, so I think
you're getting to it.
I bought 3 capture cards. If you're familiar with what a capture card is, Jake, that's what we used at that Extra Life stream where we could stream our gameplay. I bought 3 capture cards, one for me, one for you, Zack, one for Jake if Jake needs one. I don't know if Jake needs one because he plays
Jake would need one.
PC. So the idea is the you 3, or you 2 and me and Kevin, we start a campaign together. Zack leading the charge. He's making all the story calls. We play this. We get together Sunday mornings. Doesn't have to be as early, Zack, because I know it's very early for you. But we
I mean,
set it all up,
best, anyway.
and then we stream it to our YouTube channel, and everyone can watch us play some Baldur's Gate 3 together.
It's going to be early for him. I don't wake up until 10. I'm going to have to go to bed early.
I know that's why it was going to be a tough sell, but that's
a compelling idea.
It was really fun, and it was really cool having a dedicated thing to do on Sunday mornings. It didn't happen every Sunday, obviously, but it would be cool.
I am just shocked. I am over the moon for this.
You got invited?
I got invited.
Yeah, I guess my concern, is just that I guess you're proof that it works. It's just the idea of trying to take a story seriously while you're surrounded by 3 of your closest goofballs.
No, but when we're playing with these, when I was playing with Kevin and with Paul, when you're making the story, I haven't even told you this, but we can actually make a selection, with the story, the dialogue trees, we can make a suggestion. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
We can highlight one and be like, this is what we would vote for. This is what this person would vote for. But ultimately, you make the decision, right?
Interesting.
Now, it depending on the situation, it's more fun to let you just do it naturally. You know what I mean? But some of the conversations kind of repeat all this kind of stuff. But it is legitimately fun. They told me it was fun to watch me make the decisions. And I'm genuinely looking forward to watching somebody else make the decisions and see how they do it differently than I did. And then just letting you experience it. And then after that whole scenario plays out, to kind of compare notes and be like, this is what happened to my story. This is what happened in Paul's story. This is what happened in Kevin's story. And that would be just super fun. And Kevin, I think he said it on last week, he's genuinely bummed that we're done with the game, because he was looking so forward to it every week. It was his thing, an exciting thing to look forward to on the weekend on Sunday mornings. You know what I mean? He really, really looked forward to it. And Paul is saying right here, he says he thought it was a good idea for streaming, because it wouldn't be just us just playing the game, but then the conversations afterwards, this is what happened and this and that, and it would just be really cool. So
compares and contrasts. Yeah.
So I sound like I've sold Zack.
Oh, I mean,
Jake?
Well, I'm certainly intrigued. I'm not gonna. I don't know what committing. You can't address me on the live stream like this.
Yes, I can. So those of you listening, would you like to see a stream of us playing Baldur's Gate 3 on Sunday mornings? You let us know in the comments. Already Paul likes it. Jake's still on the fence. That's very early for him.
I'm intrigued with the concept. Okay. I just
yeah. And of course, Kevin is obviously sold on the idea. So yeah. Other things I've been playing. I played some more Final Fantasy Renaissance. I finally got back into that. I had a little bit of a hiatus because I was covering a couple games. But I am now. I don't know if you remember if you guys have played it, but there are 4 crystals you're supposed to collect. I have the first 2, and I'm in the dungeon where the 3rd is. So if that gives you any idea of how far it is.
Dude, you're going to have beaten Final Fantasy 1 twice in the year.
Yes.
That's crazy.
It's kind of crazy. But I've hit a little bit of a wall. It's crazy playing Final Fantasy without magic, because none of my characters are attuned. The particular party that I chose aren't attuned to magic. Now I have a summoner, but he can't equip any magic spells. He just has his special abilities that has these summons that he learns. So his only magic is summons. And then I have a bard who sings these songs that kind of act like magic, but it's also his bonus attack. And then I have not a fighter, but a dragoon that doesn't have magic. He's purely attack. And then I have an animal trainer, which doesn't have any magic. So in Final Fantasy, you have to go buy your magic spells, and I have not been able to buy a single one. So I don't have any healing spells. I don't have any fire spells, any lightning spells, anything like that. Now, the opposite end of that is that when I go and fight bosses, I am able to take out bosses in 2 rounds, because my dragoon hits so hard with his jump ability that I statistically am taking them out in 2 or 3 rounds. So they don't have a chance to so like my method of getting through these bosses is just go all out on attack and hope I survive those first couple rounds without having to heal. So it's like kind of crazy playing a Final Fantasy game that way, but it's really interesting. So what else did I I wanted to mention I needed a break from Final Fantasy because the wall I hit is I found some enemies in this dungeon that just non-elemental one-shot kill me. Like it's just there's nothing. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, and I don't have the magic spells to be able to buff against it. So I just got frustrated, and I'm like, I want to find something else. For some reason, I was drawn to Braid. Remember Braid, the puzzle game where like you could like rewind time and stuff like that?
Of course, Jonathan Blow.
I beat it back in the day. I remember getting frustrated with it in sections, but I was like, I want to go experience that again. Because remember they did like a remake of it, which is like, what a weird game to remake. Like, who cares about how good that game looks? You know what I mean? Like, it's just anyway.
Right? Yeah, it was a weird game.
So I'm playing it, and I had a stark realization that I don't like Braid. I find myself just constantly beating my head against the wall trying to solve some of these puzzles. Like they're just, I know it's trial and error and everything, but I am not enjoying it. So I think I installed it within an hour.
And you've
uninstalled it.
You've never liked Braid, or you've learned you
don't remember. Like it's been what 15 years since that game came out.
Yeah,
I feel like
2008. I want to say,
yeah. And I got through it, not without help, right? But I was trying really hard not to look stuff up. And how did we figure out some of that stuff without looking it up? Do you remember like the puzzle pieces that you had to like put upside down so that the guy could walk on that? Like, how did you figure that out? Like,
there's probably 2 major reasons. One, games have probably just made us stupider because they hold our hands more. So they've probably just made us dumber in ways we don't even realize.
Yeah.
But 2, there's less you wanted to play back then, so you probably had time to think about Braid longer.
That's true.
Now there's 14 games that come out every day that look good, so you got that in your back of your mind whether you're thinking about it or not.
My options are so limited. I must beat this puzzle.
Yeah, dude.
Wasn't that a Summer of Arcade?
It was
game too. Like, so it was like you had this pack of 5 games, and I paid $20 for these 5 games. I'm definitely going to play them all. You know.
Dude.
That was back when you could get 5 brand new games for $20, by the way. It was like you buy 4 and you got 1 free, right? If I remember right.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yeah, if you bought them all, yeah.
All right. I am getting ahead of myself, but that is the games we've been catching up on. Let's go ahead and jump into the week's news. Got to give a shout out to our news team. That is Mark Szymanski, Paul Hine, and Sean Coates. They have been killing it over on thegamingoutsider.com. Please check out all the articles they have written, guys. Lots of interesting things on there. Wild Blue is a game that looks worth checking out. Skull Horde, I think, looks interesting. And then there's a new trailer for Power Wash Simulator 2 that was announced for Xbox, PlayStation, and PC this week. In news, the AI war against actors is definitely heating up. New details emerge for Silent Hill F, and surprising nobody, Space Marine 3 is on the way. And lastly, Ubisoft is gearing up against harassment for Assassin's Creed Shadows, which is coming up very soon. Jake, what story would you like to talk about, sir?
Let's talk about Space Marine 3.
All right.
So Space Marine 2 sold over 5 million copies. Saber Interactive will return as the developer and is promising to engross the players even further into the Warhammer universe. They will continue with the 3-pronged approach of the campaign, co-op and PvP, while being bigger, better, and even more badass. Can I say that on? I was just reading off the script.
If Cliff Bleszinski can say it, then you can say it. I mean, that's who I'm quoting, is Cliff Bleszinski. I wrote that up.
If you read the news guys actually did an article on this on our website, and I was reading the quotes from the developers, like at Saber, or the CEOs at Saber. They are talking this thing up like it is going to be just the next best thing, which I understand that's their job, right? They want to do this, but they just sound like they're revolutionizing gaming with Space Marine 3.
I mean, Space Marine 2 didn't revolutionize anything, but it was a really hot topic when it first came out.
The revolution was that it reminded us of games 15 years ago. So if that's revolutionary.
It was
Yeah.
pretty impressive how it felt like you were in a full on battle, though. You know what I mean? Like it was
For sure,
like,
yeah.
like you play Gears of War, and it's like you and two other guys against like, oh, there's 6 enemies, and then we're gonna move on. There's 5 more enemies. You know what I mean? This felt
I
like
don't
you
like
were in the.
your attitude.
I'm not knocking Gears of War. I'm just saying, like, as awesome as that game is, the little bit that I played of Space Marine 2, it was like you're in the middle of all of it at once. You know, it
Right.
felt like some of those scenes, just enemies pouring out of everywhere, even though they were able to condense it down into mini fights like you do in Gears of War. But like,
Well,
where do you
Space
go
Marine,
from here?
it's crazy in Space Marine 2 the way, like, because the Tyranids, make little pyramids that climb over each other or whatever.
Mhm.
But they'll come in from what looks like the background, and then all of a sudden they're like in your level, and you're like, whoa, that is an impressive magic trick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So like,
So,
what do you do to step up from that? Like, you just got done playing 2. What do you want from 3 that would be impressive like that for you?
I think characters that sounded different from each other would probably be my biggest request.
Is it all like the same voice actor or something, or
No, but they all just sound like British tough guy. But I had to turn on subtitles, and I generally do
Jason
not like to
Statham?
use. No, they did not. That's the only British voice I can do.
The Olympic diver.
And but I had to turn on subtitles. They all just sounded like military guy. Like in the Gears cast always sounded different. But
They're all
anyway,
kind of grunty.
outside of that kind of half joke.
Yeah,
answer,
Carmine
I
sounded like
don't
he was
know
in a
what else-
helmet.
Well, for all 3 seconds he lasted. How dare the fans have voted for him to live?
I know, right?
Should have done.
Jake, are you excited for? Did you play Space Marine 2?
I did. I played it all the way through.
Nice.
I really enjoyed it. I didn't play as much as the PvP, or I guess the co-op as much as I wanted to, but man, there was just a lot going on in everywhere you went. And yeah, I know that there's other factions and other things that they could use from Warhammer to up the ante even further.
Uh-huh.
And seeing what they're going to do with it would be cool. But I would love to see the co-op maybe fleshed out more, because like you finally, like at the end of it, you finally got your own character, and then you had to like go battle other things to level up things to make your character even look even cooler and whatnot. And I don't know, I just felt like it was just a rinse and repeat level thing, just to level things up.
Yeah, I know they had some variations when you played the maps over again. But like some kind of Left 4 Dead AI director would probably be pretty cool for the co-op of Space Marine 3.
Oh, okay.
Where it kind of adapts to how you're playing and changes, so that you never feel too comfortable. And more than anything, I just want more words, because as much as I didn't get sucked into the lore, I just love that it's like Adeptus Mechanicus. What? Okay, dude, what sounds sweet? Let's get more of that.
Sound like Harry Potter, like whatever you just said.
And I love the way I love the dialogue in Space Marine 2 was so funny to me, where it's like you can't just say kill the traitor, it's cleanse the heretics. It's good.
Yep.
That's fun.
Yep.
I do like that. Cleanse the heretics. Cull the herd.
Right. And yeah, they say fun things. I don't know what most of them means, but they do sound cool.
Nice. All right, Zach, what about you? What story you want to talk about?
It's interesting because I originally didn't even feel like it was that big a story, but I do kind of want to talk about Silent Hill F.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm shocked. Little inside baseball. We talked about this before the show, and
yeah, I was like, I don't even know what we're talking about. But then when I was writing it up, I was like, yeah, this game sounds pretty sweet. Silent Hill F. Yeah, this was originally revealed during the Silent Hill transmission in 2022 when they announced the Silent Hill 2 remake and that insane web series Silent Hill thing that came and went. And it'll be the first Silent Hill game set in Japan, and it's taking place during the 60s, which I think is super cool. Although, naturally my first instinct was to push up my glasses and say, well, I thought Silent Hill was in Maine. But I guess it used to move, right? I guess we don't know what happened before the 90s. I don't know. Anyway, I hate you. I just don't. I can see why those kids don't pay attention. Much
Shots
much
fired.
is being made of the title's content warning, because they have a if you go to their website, they've got a pretty big content warning on it. It says this game is set in Japan in the 1960s and contains depictions based on the customs and culture of that time. These depictions do not reflect the opinions or values of the developers of any individuals involved. Of course, some things in the world haven't simply gone away, as a disclaimer also warns of depictions of gender discrimination, child abuse, bullying, drug-induced hallucinations, torture, and graphic violence. People were freaking out about this warning.
Yeah, but it's also funny.
Everything that I want in a game.
Because in Silent Hill 2 remake, we got like a half a sentence warning. Like, you know what I mean? And there was some pretty messed up stuff in that game.
I agree. Yeah, it felt like almost like a marketing tactic, because people were like, "Whoa, this game sounds crazy." I'm like, it just sounds like a horror story. Yeah,
but it also works on me. Like, that makes me want to play it even more, just to see what they're talking about. So
right.
I'm a sucker.
Yeah.
But the other interesting thing about the description you said is, it takes place in the 1960s, which I had this picture in my head of what the 1960s is based on American culture in 60s. But I've never really considered what the 1960s looks like in other countries, much less Japan. And looking at this trailer, that's not what I envisioned. You know what I mean? Like, when you hear 1960s America, don't you kind of picture like those suburban cookie cutter houses? Everything looks the same. Everybody's happy. Pleasantville. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I expect.
No, I think of civil rights.
Civil rights and the hippie movement probably sticks out too, but maybe I'm thinking 50s is what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Or the what was it, the 70s after all the civil rights stuff?
Yes, the 70s comes after the 60s.
There it is. They got Mr. Clark's here.
God, these kids are going to be geniuses. He's such a smart man.
Anyway, I guess I agree, because they're like they have a lot of the traditional Japanese architecture in the trailer. Even though it's the 60s. But having been in Japan, yeah, their history is kind of everywhere.
And it's also, it's a good 10, 15 years after, but post World War II.
Right. There would be a heavy American influence at this time, right?
I was going to say, what fires are going on in the background that's going to promote the ash falling from the sky?
That's the second nuke on Japan reference you've made this podcast.
I know, dude. I think
uncomfortable.
I know. How about that final shot in the trailer, though? Did you see that? Like, where, like, the knife to her face, and then her skin just starts peeling off.
Oh, her face peels right off. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, like I want to know what's going on with this game. So,
yep. I did find it funny, if you watch some of the stuff around the trailer. They're talking about how they felt like Silent Hill lost its way from its Japanese influences, and all I could think is it was always in America.
But it was a Japanese company, right? Like,
right, yeah, and of course, but they're like, so to bring back the Japanese feeling, we're taking place in Japan. I'm like, but it was never in Japan. I appreciate the sentiment. I just think the logic is faulty, and that's all.
The source material. Oh.
Yeah. The frustrating thing with this is the second time we've heard about Silent Hill F. Right? It was originally launched at the transmission thing you talked about, and then we get this new thing. Did we see any gameplay?
No. Well,
did we get a release date?
Arguably. No release date.
Like,
no release window, right? It just was like,
yeah,
hey, this bad boy. All right.
I just don't get it. Like, that's, I do want to play that game, especially after Silent Hill 2 remake. I did not expect to like that game as much as I did. And the setting, it looks like you're playing as a Japanese girl, presumably. Is that a fair assessment?
Well, she certainly looks Japanese, and she looks like a girl.
Well, we don't know if that's the character you're playing. Like, it's just because you don't see any gameplay.
Is that depictions of gender discrimination that I?
Oh my god!
Yeah, he was just channeling the game. I did think it was fun. Her outfits getting all cut up during the adventure, a little bit of Arkham style.
Batman.
Yeah.
Very excited.
Sands of Time.
Except she's not in a really cool
looks
outfit.
Great. I don't know. I've
all right,
been
so
upset about the school outfit.
Oh my God. Moving on. I got 2 stories to pick from. I'm tired of hearing about that. So I want to talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because you guys told me about the story right before we started recording, so this is brand news to me. But Ubisoft apparently starting to lawyer up with the upcoming Assassin's Creed Shadows release, which, by the way, the reviews dropped today.
Mhm.
Mostly positive. I saw 1 6 out of 10, which again isn't a terrible score, but mostly 9s and 8s and 9s from what I saw.
6 out of 10 is aggressively average.
But
slightly above
if
aggressively average.
if you guys remember when this game was first announced, it's just been laden with controversy. You know, people being just overly negative about the characters in this. So Ubisoft is hiring lawyers to protect employees because, as we all know, some people that really suck in this world start delivering threats to employees. And what do you was it a dox? Is that doxing still a thing?
Is that where you find their address?
I think so. I actually saw on Twitter a couple people were swatted this week. Like that's still, if people are still doing that.
Yep.
What a hilarious prank.
That is not a hilarious
What
prank.
a hilarious
So they're basically expecting a lot of toxic backlash when this game comes out. And how sad is it that they have to hire a legal team to protect its employees that put how much time and effort and love into this game? So good on them for doing it, I guess. But how awful is it that this is the state of the world that we're in, that we have to do this, that people are going to get obviously upset about this game?
Not everyone can be as positive as us.
I mean,
it's just a game that wasn't for them, right?
In a world where people threaten the life of the child of an actress who played a character just because of what the character did, like this is what we need, I guess, in this world, right? Like, I think it feels weird to root for the giant company suing people, but it's what needs to happen because you got to stem the tide of this somehow, and people are not going to just. People can't. It's not enough for people to just be racist. They got to also be violent and ask for the lives of the people who dared to make this product.
And here's the thing. I'm not saying that people don't have a right to have a negative opinion about this game, or even have a negative opinion about the characters in this and whether or not they belong in all this. I don't know the history well enough to know if there was an African American guy in feudal Japan. I don't know. I don't care. I'm playing a video game. I'm going to try to
play a video
enjoy
game
it.
where an ancient alien race created several powerful artifacts that dudes fight for throughout millennia.
Right.
But realism is what matters.
And get connected to a machine that lets you relive your memories by tapping into your DNA structure within your body. Like I don't care. I mean, I want some games to be realism, and I get the argument that a big part of Assassin's Creed is its accuracy to history, like in terms of the architecture and the city designs and all that kind of stuff. But
the fist fighting Pope, of course, everybody loved that guy.
But I just refuse to allow myself to get upset with this kind of thing. I'm just going to do my best to enjoy the game and hope that I enjoy the game. I'm not going to let myself be upset. I mean, I was a guy, like when I was younger, that never understood all the controversy around like movie stars. Like some people would boycott a movie or say that this movie sucks because this actor did this and I can't associate with that anymore. So I'm not, I can't enjoy the movie anymore. I've never been that person, and I will never be that person, especially when it comes to my favorite hobby. I'm just going to do my best to enjoy the game. I'm not going to let myself get upset. But again, I'm okay with people disliking the game. I'm okay with you not liking the idea of it not being historically accurate. I am not okay with you sending death threats to developers and their families. I'm not okay with you putting these developers in potential physical harm by getting them swatted. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, this is just ridiculous. And can't we just all get along? You're like,
no.
It's like we've taken something that's so awesome, one of my favorite things in the world to do, and just turned it around into a negative thing, and it just drives me crazy. So That's my golden retriever soapbox.
I mean, it's just your normal human thinking.
Should be.
Yeah.
Should be.
Yeah.
But
all right.
Before we move on, I do want to say there are some AI stuff happening against voice actors.
All right.
And they've been on strike for months, and nobody's talking about it.
I forgot that they were still on strike. Honestly,
yeah,
like it's shame on me.
Right.
Admittedly,
shame on you. Shame on everybody.
Yeah.
So we don't have to go into it. It's just
the Aloy thing is pretty messed up.
Yeah, Sony making an AI Aloy that people could talk to,
like Sony. Like,
yeah,
this isn't like some like this is Sony that just makes this, and Ashley Birch didn't even know about it. Like, wouldn't you think she'd have to sign off on that or get paid for it or something?
Well, no, I mean, there's no laws on the books, right? So
yeah,
they can do whatever they want.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it sucks.
AI is I mean, this is a whole other topic too, but like, did you see the AI thing for PlayStation that they're talking about too, by the way? This is not related to voice actors, but like they're making a thing on PlayStation. You know how they got the little card? This may not just be PlayStation, it might be Microsoft actually. But you know how like there's a little cards in PlayStation that says, "Hey, you want a tip for how to get this trophy that you're going after?" And then like it'll pull up something off the internet and show you a video how to do it or whatever. They're talking about adding an AI assistant now. And the comparison that I heard on a podcast I listened to this morning was it's like Clippy from the Microsoft PC. Remember that? Like, hey,
no,
it looks like you're trying to do this. Would you like some help? So
No.
they're going to have like an AI assistant that you can like just, talk to and stuff. Like, so
I would
going
have
back
to disconnect my PlayStation from the internet.
Right. Like, it's not even, it's already bad enough, and I'm guilty of this, that we can just pull up our phone and type a YouTube thing and find how to get through a puzzle. And I do that more than anybody. But we've gotten to the point where we can't even be bothered to do that. We just need to do it right on our TV and do that. But
dude, the AI thing, it's also like this stuff just isn't ready. Like the Google Gemini thing that like that's always your top result when you Google search now.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, it's just straight up wrong.
Right.
But everyone just reads the first thing they see and then assumes that it's true, and then misinformation spreads immediately.
Yes. And spoken as fact, or this leaker, this verified leaker said this. Oh yeah, he was wrong 7 out of the 10 times before, but he got it right once. The broken clock is correct twice a day. I'm just saying. But to your point, I'm trying to teach my students how to find research and use Google as a tool to find research. Number one, I can't get through to some of these kids that you are not finding this information on Google. You are using Google to find it on another website, right? So when I'm trying to teach them citing, they're going, "Oh, Google.com. Shut up." Anyway, but they're looking at that AI.
Obviously, you found it on Wikipedia.
Oh, I had to have the whole conversation too, like that. Like you cite Wikipedia, you're failing, like just straight up.
That's been a thing for 20 years though.
No, but they're using that.
Teachers hate Wikipedia,
and I'm like, you can't use that. That is just the internet pulling from a bunch of different places and putting something together. That's the internet literally plagiarizing, and you're taking that as fact. No, you have to go to a website and and verify this stuff. And yeah, you're right. It's often very wrong. It's just AI.
Yeah, Google something you actually know about yourself, and you will learn how quickly that stuff is just always wrong.
Oh, I should do that. Should I just Google my name and my city and see what it finds?
Scott Clark.
Oh, I'm interested.
He's famous for teaching about the Roman space race.
The ancient Roman space race.
The ancient Roman space.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and move on and talk about the new games that we've been playing right now. All right, Zach. What's on the list this week that people can purchase on the docket?
Cozy waifu RPG Atelier Yumiya, The Alchemist of Memories and the Envision Land comes to Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC March 21st. Bleach Rebirth of Souls. I cannot believe Bleach is so relevant.
I can't either, dude. Like, I didn't know. Like, I haven't followed it in forever. I watched it a bunch of it, and
Yeah,
I would have
remember you
been
were
so
into it.
excited for a Bleach game back then. But I assumed it would have been done by now. Are they still making that anime?
Maybe they're doing a new series or something.
I don't know.
I don't know. This could be your way back in.
Maybe.
Kaiser Punk comes to PC March 21st. Dark Deity 2 comes to PC March 24th. Breakout Beyond, a reinvention of the classic Brick Breaker, comes to Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, PC, and of course the Atari VCS. I'm sure that thing's thriving. Comes March 25th. The Darkest Files is a pretty cool game where you're playing like a prosecutor hunting down Nazi war criminals who got away in the 50s. It sounds pretty cool. Coming to PC March 25th. Grit and Valor 1949 makes its way to PC March 25th. AI Limit is the latest anime Souls-like that comes to PC and PS5 March 27th. Karma the Dark World comes to PC and PS5 March 27th. Gal Guardians Servants of the Dark. You can play a sexy anime lady shooting stuff on Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, PC March 27th. Rosewater, an adventure game set in the Wild West, comes to PC March 27th. Twilight Monks makes its way to Switch and PC March 27th. Kimono Heroes, you play little animal guys shooting a bunch of stuff. So that's classic. Comes to Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC March 27th. Anaya Life After Gods is a game I have gotten 150 emails about, and it's finally releasing on Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC March 27th. And then Cookie Cutter, a beloved game from our own Scott Clark.
Yes.
Comes to Switch finally, a console I would have just assumed it was already on, but it comes out there on March 27th. Scott, I assume if you had to pick one game from this list, it's Cookie Cutter?
No, because I played it already, so I'm not going to play it again. But if you guys have not played Cookie Cutter, do yourself a favor, check out that game. If you like gear-gated games and just ridiculous gore, like robotic gore.
Yeah.
And man, there is a something I realized about 3/4 of the way through the game, what they were actually doing with a certain character that I can't remember if I told you guys. I won't spoil it for you here, but remind me when we're done recording. I'll tell you if you really want to know. It made me crack up laughing when. Did I tell you about it? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, you're talking about her robot companion.
Her robot companion. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know.
No,
I think that's a selling point, and you should share
it. Yeah. Her name is Gina, not Gina.
So Gina.
Her name is Gina.
It's weird you didn't put it together earlier. Yeah.
No, especially because like her crotch glows whenever she talks to her. And I just never made the connect. All of a sudden, like a light bulb went off, and I was like, "Oh my god, that was amazing!" But
what a weird game.
It is weird, but it is awesome. It's just some awesome animation. No, I'm really excited to play Shatter. I'm sorry.
Beyond?
Breakout Beyond. Yeah. No, I really am excited to play it, but it does very much look like Shatter. But also Karma the Dark World. Man, I'm getting creepy vibes on that game, and I just really want to see what the story. That looks like a very story-driven game. So those are the two for me. But if I had to pick one, yeah, probably Karma, the Dark World.
Okay. What about you, Jake?
AI Limit looked really cool. I like the apocalyptic, like broken down, vibe that was given off. But I don't know. Watching the trailer for that, they're only speaking Japanese, I think, right? And they're all a bunch of AI girls, I think. It's not really kind of my game.
Well, I'm sure there are subtitles, but
I hope so.
It's got a fun style. I couldn't get into the demo because they released a demo a few months ago. I want to say on PlayStation. Perhaps it is different. I know The Lies of P had a bad demo, but it was a great game allegedly. So this could be a similar case, but I couldn't gel with AI Limit. As for me this week, the Darkest Files looks pretty good. Who doesn't want to hunt Nazis in any context? But I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. If I had to play one game on this list, it's gonna be Rosewater. One click adventure game, Wild West, whatever, dude. I'm in. Let me investigate it. It's gonna get me into every genre, the Western setting.
There's gonna be like a Western match 3 game, and it's actually be like I'm all in.
I'll be there day one, baby.
Lasso. Oh, exhilarating gameplay.
Oh, dude, you're selling me.
There's gonna be like a Western dating sim, and Zach's gonna be like speaking of lassoing.
Lasso me one of them cowgirls.
Exactly.
I'm trying to think of a genre I hate, like an RTS that's a Wild West. I'll play that.
Sports
There you
game.
go. What are they? What's the sport? Horseshoes?
Golf.
$60 horseshoes game.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, that would be amazing.
That'd be funny as hell.
Speaking of amazing, Scott, you have been playing a new game, Spilled.
I have. This is a very, very short game. Solo developer. I think they said she's from Denmark, and she literally developed this game on a boat. Like she had her, like she's on a houseboat or something. That's what I read in the press release. It's pretty cool. So Spilled is like a very eco-friendly game where the world is polluted by an oil spill, basically, and your job is to go around as this little tugboat-looking thing, suck up all the oil, pick up trash, and deposit it back in a recycling center, as it were, and go out and just keep doing that. And when you do, you collect coins, and the coins allow you to upgrade your ship. The game is like this isometric view, like you know what I mean by that, where it's at an angle, and you just kind of navigate around. You have an accelerator, and you have a steering button, and you can go in reverse. And then there's one other button that lowers like this claw into the ground that you can pick up, barrels of oil that have been cracked and deposited and that kind of thing. So, but you've got like this catcher at the front of your ship. It starts out very small. You use that to pick up like pieces of trash and whatnot. And one of the upgrades is to get that wider and wider and wider. One of the other upgrades is to increase how much oil you can actually suck up before you have to go deposit it. And then one of it is the speed of your boat. So nothing super exciting. You come across one area, you clean it up, it opens up a second area, and you just rinse, repeat, and you do that 8 times until you get to like a final boss, which I thought was weird. The final boss of this game is an oil tanker, and the way you defeat this oil tanker is by you get this ability to shoot water, like spray water, and you use it initially to spray water off of like the shoreline, so that the oil goes into the water, and then you can suck it up. Well, you use that thing on this oil tanker to sink it, which seems completely like you're sinking an oil tanker. That's not going to get rid of the oil. I don't know. Anyway,
it's going to make it worse.
But anyway, it's a cute little game. I know we kind of don't like games being described as cozy, but that's really what this game is. There's no time limits. There's no pressure to do anything super well. You just get like 90% of it cleaned up, and you go on to the next area. I beat this entire game in between 1 and 2 hours. It's very short.
This an app game?
It's fun. I actually mentioned that in my review. It feels like a game that you would play on your phone, and I would be shocked if this doesn't make its way to a mobile device, because it just seems very, very perfect for that. It's a perfectly fine game. It runs great. It plays fine. It's calm and relaxing. It's nothing that I'm going to highly recommend and run out to get, but it's like $6. Works great on the Steam Deck. There is that satisfaction of cleaning up an environment. Like when you play like those simulator games, like lawn mowing simulator or power wash simulator, where you get that, it just feels good to clean something, and it gets like that sparkle. It does a little thing where the whole thing sparkles if you clean it all up completely, and then you move on to the next section. So it's got that. It scratches that itch, but as crazy as it sounds, I almost wish there was a bit more of a challenge to it. You know what I mean? Like there were some harder levels, or they did put a timer on it to give me, because there's no way to lose. You know what I mean? Like it's just, I guess that's the definition of cozy game. But the fact that this one developer created it, it took her 2 years to do it, and it's her first game. It's. I don't mean to sound like I'm yucking everybody's yum, but it's a $6 game.
She spent 2 years on that boat?
I mean, she probably came off of the boat a couple times, but so that is Spilled. Again, I'm playing on Steam Deck. It's on PC. It's not on anything else as of right now, but the developer's name is Lente, Lente, and the game was provided to me by Pirate BR, so shout out to those guys. Zack, you have been playing a game. Am I pronouncing this correctly? Ammossum.
I mean, your guess is as good as mine.
Okay.
Ammossum.
Ammo.
I guess
or the-
Ammossum makes the most sense, right? Because you're playing as a possum.
That's why I did that. But clearly, you had to play this game because shocker, it's a Western
Mhm.
theme,
Oh,
right?
Cowboy possum.
It's
Yeah.
a cowboy possum. We're still trying to find a Western themed game that Zach really doesn't like. Does this one fit the bill?
Well, kind of.
Oh,
I mean, like I played a game. Was it Legend of Cyber Cowboy this year? That wasn't great.
it
They
wasn't
can be.
great, but you had fun with it.
Yeah, and I think I would have fun with Ammossum. So the general bones of the game is it is kind of a roguelike run-based game, run-based randomizer, as it were. And you're a little possum guy riding a train, and every now and again, you have to get off the train for one reason or another. And during that time, you're getting swarmed by, swarms and swarms of enemies, and it's sort of, I don't know how you would describe, kind of tower defense-y. Like you're not stationary, but you're basically on the left side of the screen, and you want to just kind of make sure the enemies don't get to you.
Okay.
Basically, so you're trying to
like
protect
Plants
them.
vs Zombies.
Yeah, a little bit, except you're kind of an active participant.
Okay.
But that is what it made me think of. And I mean that's the game. It's kind of like a nice simple game in that way. However, my only access to it is the Steam Deck
Mhm.
and two notes. And I do want to preface this is a very early version of the game because if you go to the Steam page, it's not coming out till Q3 of this year.
Yeah.
So it's still got a lot of time to cook. But the version we were given access to runs very poorly on the Steam Deck.
Okay.
I felt like I was getting like 20 frames, so it's a little bit of slow motion.
Okay.
But more devastating is it has these like borders at the top and bottom, these giant like wood panel borders. I sent you a screenshot or I sent you a picture of it, Scott.
Mhm.
And no matter what I did, I couldn't figure out a way to get rid of those. And that's happened with a couple Steam Deck games. And I know it's a problem with Final Fantasy Renaissance. You were telling me, and you had to like go into the game files to get rid of it.
Yeah,
But-
there's a Kevin gave me a whole list of instructions. I'm not super techie when it comes to that stuff, but he figured out a way to do it, and
I know.
it wasn't like as simple as like going into the game settings and changing this. You actually had to go into the settings of the Steam Deck itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I tried to replicate that for this Ammossum demo, but I simply I couldn't get it to go away, and I could work around it during the action, just because well, I'm gonna guess there's people up there I gotta shoot, so I'll just go up there and shoot.
Right.
But when I need to pick my upgrades in between levels, I couldn't see. I was just clicking and hoping for the best.
Oh yeah.
So that was unfortunate. I think there's probably a good game under here, but I can only speak to my experience.
Right.
And the one on Steam Deck just isn't good right now. Hopefully when we get closer to release, it will be better. But I will say the general vibe and aesthetics, super cute. I don't know how you came up with the idea of a cowboy possum, but thumbs up to that. It's a fun idea.
I mean, you fill in the blank with how did somebody come up with a cowboy blank? It's actually gonna be like, yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, fair enough. Touche. Can't argue that.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have seen the possum coming, I guess.
Yeah.
Here's
Again, that is. Go ahead.
I was gonna say there should be an upgrade where you're playing dead or something,
Feign death.
right?
That should be
Yeah,
like
like
one of
feign
the
death.
powers or something. Like you just
Yeah,
play
like-
possum.
Like you wake up and he just like shoots in every direction or something like that. I don't
Oh,
know.
like
There's something there.
What was it, the Death Blossom from Last Starfighter? You know what I'm talking about? Sean Coates
Yeah,
knows what I'm
something-
talking about.
Something like that.
You watch. He's gonna put the comment in here. He's gonna do it. Anyway, that is
listening.
Ammossum. It's only on PC as of right now. It comes from developer Westglade, published by Yahaha Studios, and was provided to us by Keymailer. So
Yeah.
Yahaha.
Yeah. And again, I'm sure it could be perfectly fine on the actual computer, but my only access to Steam is the deck.
Fair enough.
So your experience with the Steam Deck sucks. But Scott, how was your experience playing Odinfall?
Odinfall, man. I don't know if you guys saw the trailer for Odinfall, which again, I always forget to say this at the top of this section of the show, but the show notes has a hyperlink to the YouTube trailer for all of these games that we're talking about. So if you want to see what we're talking about, check that out. Sometimes having something visual really helps. Odinfall, when you watch that trailer, looks like a Scott Clark game through and through. Twin stick shooter, roguelike, procedurally generated, random weapon drops, upgrades, all this stuff.
Kind of like a metal energy to it. You know, it just felt high energy in a way.
Yeah,
that made me think
very
of you.
high energy. And it just
was that the
like...
Triforce? Oh, no wonder Scott Clark likes this game.
No, it's not the Triforce. So let me just to give you a setup. This thing is very steeped in Norse mythology. Like you're trapped in a. I know. Look at the look on Jake's face.
Odinfall. Thanks. I would have never guessed.
But I mean, like, it's like if you mixed up Norse mythology with AI technology and robots. Like.
Oh, dude, just like Too Human.
I ever played Too Human.
Dude, I mean, it was a weird techno AI feature Norse mythology setting. It also
really
not. It was also not good at all.
Oh, okay.
It's also not good at all.
So, like, you're trapped in a dungeon. You get thrown into this dungeon with Loki, who is just a disembodied robotic head floating around, telling you what to do to escape. The character that I started as is a female character that has no arms, and she does the what's the Robert Rodriguez movie with the Planet Terror? Is that what it was? Where you had the woman with the prosthetic leg?
Yeah.
So it's like she's doing that. Like she's just attaching things to her arm. Like the weapons that you get are actually like attachments, which is awesome, right? This is great.
For sure. Yeah.
And then the second character unlock is a smiling moose. Like it's just all crazy. It's all weird. So you're going through these procedurally generated maps, like an overhead view map, trying to find the exit. In order to get the exit, you have to find the key. And then you just, you get upgrades, you get some permanent upgrades. Just it's standard stuff here. The issue I have with this game, and again, this is early access, is that for these games to really latch on to me, there needs to be a sense of accomplishment early on. You know what I mean? Like where you're leveling up at the very beginning, even if that leveling up tapers off and you're not getting it as often, feed it to me at the beginning so I feel like I'm doing something right. Get me hooked in, give me some sense of awesome early on. Odinfall, as of this point, the first level is a breeze. I can get through the first level, no problem. I have yet to be able to pass the second level. And you have two options for a second level. I can't do it. And I've leveled up both of my characters to level 3 and with permanent upgrades. And I can't, as soon as I get into that second level, it just feels like the difficulty increased by 5 or 6. I don't know what it is. It's a well-made game though. Everything, the twin stick shooting feels great. The movement feels very quick and snappy. You've got a dash feature. The explosions feel good. The upgrades are like you get a weapon, and then your next crate that you find might be a new weapon, or it might be an upgrade for an existing weapon. And those upgrades feel significant. Like so, if you're shooting a single bullet weapon, this upgrade might allow you to shoot 3 bullets now instead, either in a rapid fire or in a spread. Stuff that just feels really impactful instead of just like an additional 10% or whatever. You know what I mean? Like there's none of that. It's all stuff that feels meaningful. There's also melee weapons, and the melee weapons feel like they're super powerful because you have to be close in order to get them. And if you know my playstyle in most of these kind of games, I like to play a ranged, stay at a distance kind of character and dodge bullets. So this game is for people that like to play bruiser style games. So I think CB would really like this style. So if I'm speaking negatively about Odinfall, I'm not talking about the quality of the game. This is like kind of the definition of a game that is not for me, because it's not scratching the upgrade itch the way that I like. It's not letting me shoot from a distance as much as I would like to. But I love the animation. I love this explosions. I love the music associated with it. I love the weirdness and everything. It's just I'm hoping that as it gets closer to a 1.0 release, that ramp up at the beginning is different. And I might be in the minority because I read some of the reviews to see if I was alone, and I've heard mostly positive things about this game. So take what I'm saying, if you're listening to this, with a grain of salt, because I think it's just a personal taste thing for me, not a quality. Does that make sense?
You're bad at games.
I am bad at games. I always have been bad at games, and I will own up to that.
No. Dude, you're great at 2D games.
Usually, not this one.
You're gonna
Yeah, well.
Odin up to it. What?
I'm gonna Odin. Oh my god, that was bad, dude.
I don't.
All right,
what
so
a
again,
fall from grace.
oh jeez. The developer is Emberpaw Games. They also published the game, and we were provided a code from 71 Consulting. So thanks. I'm not gonna give up on it, especially as this thing gets closer to 1.0. I'm gonna go in and see what changes they've made. But this game feels done. You know, like how you play some early access games and it feels like, oh, this one needs a little more time in the oven. This
Like
one
me with
feels
Planet
like
Smith?
it's right. Like that one, like it needs a lot more to go. There's just like straight up things missing in that game, right?
Yeah.
This one feels like there's already a lot going on. It's got a lot, like any changes are going to be tweaks, not necessarily core things that I take issue with for personal reasons. But I'm still going to give it a shot. So we'll see how that goes. All right. We got 2 more reviews to talk about. I got a chance to sit down and talk with Mark and David, who played a couple games for us. We're going to play those reviews for you guys right now. So I am here with 2 of my favorite people in the world. First off, Mark Szymanski. How you doing, Mark?
Doing good, Scott. How are you this evening?
And that's it. No, David Newman is here too. How's it going, David?
Oh, wow! Thanks for that. I guess I deserve that after the ribbing I gave you beforehand. So.
Yeah, right. It's been a minute, man. I feel like I haven't talked to you on the mic in a bit. How's the new kid doing?
Oh, the kid is she's beautiful. She's so cute and happy. If
She's got your
we weren't
DNA
recording
in
a
her, and she's beautiful.
I know, right? I know. I'm an ugly piece of crap. I get it. She's also got my wife's. She's also got my wife's DNA. So there you go.
There you go. That works. How old is she now?
She's
the
15
baby,
months.
not your wife. 15 months. Wow, time flies.
The baby, not my wife.
Yeah. Well, yeah. All right. Well, congrats on 15 months, man. How you liking fatherhood?
It is a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
I'm sure Mark can attest to that.
Yeah, he's kind of past that, right?
I am far past that, but I remember, and he is right. So,
all right. Well, we're not here to talk about babies. We're here to talk about games, and you guys have each been playing a couple of games. One of them, David, let's start with the one that you've been playing, which, if I'm not mistaken, is just the prologue of this game. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
All right. But this game is called Guards 2 Chaos in Hell. It's on PC. It's only on PC. It comes from developer Battle Cruiser Games and was published and provided to us by HeroCraft PC. I couldn't even find a price on this one. Have you seen a price?
I haven't yet. Yeah, it's not out. It's still like out in the ether. Like Steam is like it's announced. So
yeah. Well, tell me about this game, because like my initial glance at this game, it reminds me, and I don't mean to make this sound like I'm speaking of it disparagingly, but it reminds me of a game I played on my cell phone back in the day, back when I was doing dailies, where you had like this crystal you had to defend on either side. I can't remember what it's called, but like turn-based and almost like defending. But this looks like a single-player experience. Is that correct? Or is it a one-player game?
It's correct, and honestly, the simplicity makes that you honestly probably could have played it on a phone if they had made it for it.
Okay, but it looks like there's complexity though in like the upgrades and things like that. Well, you know what? People are like that. By the way, I feel like I never say this enough, but the trailers for each of these games are in the show notes of this episode. So go look at this trailer while we're talking about it. Why don't I let you explain what this game is, David?
Yeah, so I can't speak exactly what the story is, because I'm going to be honest, I didn't care enough to be clear. Like, it's just like I think you're sent to face some different demons or mythological creatures, essentially, and it's not just like one mythological, like, I guess, setting. There are some taken from like Egyptian to I think there's even like Nordic or something. There's just multiple different mythologies involved, and essentially how it works is it's level based, turn based. I don't know if strategy. It's not really strategy, but just turn based gameplay. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
And you have four guards, and all you really are doing is the only move you have is you pick a guard and then you swap it with another guard and then they attack on their own. And they can only attack in the spaces in front. And depending on the guard that you have, it can either have a long range. There's one that has a medium range, and then there's one that has a short range. Okay. Now there's four spots, 3 in the front, 1 in the back.
And just to clarify for those that haven't seen the trailer, it's like a grid-based combat system, right? Like your characters are on the left-hand side, and when you say move 1 space forward or swap spaces, it's almost like chessboard pieces, right?
It's actually, so it's only, yes, you're on the left side, and you either can swap sideways or you can move one player up, one of the guards up to the front row and another to the back. Okay. So there's no moving forward in the battle space. The enemies will move forward towards you.
Gotcha. So it's almost like not quite tower defense, but you're strategically trying to stop the forces from getting through you.
Kind of. And so essentially you can move side to side, which then that turn will then you put one person in front of another, and then if you move someone backwards, they actually heal. They don't fully heal, but they have a healing mechanism to it. And then when you bring one of the characters forward, they do their special move, which again depends on the type of character. You have like one with a that's a melee, that's like a shield. You have another that has a healing ability, and then there's like a range guy that attacks like multiple enemies in their line.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I kind of like that each of your characters has like its little health bar below it, so you can just visually see how much energy that guy's got, and it helps you make some decisions and which ones need to heal right away or swap out. So I know this is just a prologue, but you got a pretty good sense of the gameplay here. Obviously, are you enjoying it, or does this seem a flash in the pan kind of thing?
Well, I was having a little bit of fun with it, but I've kind of got stuck. I haven't even finished the prologue because I just got stuck on this level. Essentially, it's a three-part level. You do 3 battles, which in between each battle, your players do heal. But on that final one is where I'm getting stuck at, where after you defeat a certain number of enemies, because what happens is you have a certain number of enemies that you have to defeat. Once that hits, boss then comes. And then they have like other enemies that also spawn, and it seems like a lot. And I don't know if there's the ability. I haven't found the ability to be able to go back to a previous level to try to get essentially experience to do some upgrades, because there are upgrades to this. There is an ability between each of those, like when you have a 3-tier like 3 battles in a level. You have the ability in between to do some like upgrades right there, but those aren't like permanent upgrades for you. Those are just in this level. And the one problem I also have is it is just you make one movement, and that's it. And then the other thing is you have to make a movement, so you can't just hold still. You can't just hold and try to try to keep your players right there, even if you think that's
make them a meat shield or something.
Right. There are, and then just one of like another part of the game is you can also have like these other abilities that you might be able to use that you like earn throughout. So that'll help. It's like heal one person, or you can do some physical attacks on others and stuff like that. I wish there was the ability to go back to previous levels so I can get some more experience to upgrade.
Or is it a thing where you could start over and maybe take a different branching path and have a better luck with a different combination?
Yeah, I probably could. Again, though, this is only level like 5 or something, so it's really not a whole lot of experience that I can earn, which I could. But again, that's kind of like,
who wants to start over?
I feel stuck.
Yeah.
So And so I'm playing this on my Steam Deck, and it is definitely not optimized for Steam Deck,
Okay.
but it's also playable.
Okay.
It's essentially just like a left click and a move the cursor type of situation.
Can you use the touchscreen?
You can, yes.
Okay. I know it's a little awkward using the touchscreen on that, but Mark?
Yeah, I had a couple questions. So last year I played a game called Howl that was similar in style, definitely not in content, but that's a little similar in the style, tactics, turn-based, stuff like that. And I wound up loving it, but it has certain finesse to it that attracted me to it. Does the game board get larger as the levels get higher? And are you limited, or do you get rewarded for completing the level in a certain amount of moves?
I think no and no.
Okay.
So as far as I can see, it's really only about, you have your 3 spaces and then a space behind you for your area, and then it's only about 4 or 5 like spaces ahead of each of those. And then to your second point, I didn't see anything that, like, as far as the amount of moves, there might be, but I didn't like I didn't see anything that told me that was what was going on.
All right.
All right, so that is Guards 2 Chaos in Hell. Sounds really interesting, David. Thanks for checking that one out. I do appreciate it. Let's talk quick about Mark's game. He is playing The Phantom he's playing it on Switch, but it is also available on PlayStation and PC. This one comes from Art of Play Interactive. They developed and published it. And you bought this one, so we don't have any PR reps to thank on this one. You are such a fan of what this game looked like that you went out and bought it yourself. And I got to say,
Indeed.
I know next to nothing about The Phantom. Wasn't there a Billy Zane movie?
Yes, 1996.
And I remember thinking that movie was really bad.
I don't even remember it. That's how good it must have been.
Like in my 16-year-old brain, watching that movie, we thought it was so bad that we turned the volume off and just like dubbed the movie
Mystery
ourselves.
Science Theater 3000.
Yeah, it was really funny. So, but watching the trailer for this one, this is a beat 'em up style game, like think like Team Ninja Turtles, the arcade game kind of deal. But man, the animations and everything in this game looks slick, very comic booky, more than any other beat 'em up I've ever seen. Tell us about The Phantom.
Yes, and that was exactly what drew me to it. So if you recall, about a month ago or a couple of weeks ago, I put out a news article with the trailer and some updates. They were making the announcement saying it was coming out last week. And so the graphics was what called to me immediately. I said, this looks like a great game. If you've been around as long as I have, you may have played Comic Zone and got completely frustrated by how incredibly hard that game was.
Yeah, it was a hard game.
Yeah, but still, the games like that just make me want to play it. It's like a living, breathing comic.
Yeah.
And so I had to try it out. Beat 'em ups, those are just classic nostalgia hits for me. So
yeah,
I was right there, excited to play it. And the graphics were spectacular throughout the entire game. It was a beat 'em up, just like you remember, where the same enemies come and pop out and you get to beat them up again and again and again. And then even though you've beaten them, here they come again. And you go to a bunch of different levels. It had a co-op option where you could also play as the Phantom's wife. Or if you were solo, you could pick between the Phantom or his wife, which was a neat little, why would you play the game The Phantom and pick somebody else to play it as? But hey,
replayability, right?
That's right.
This game looks super cheesy. Is it?
No, not at all.
Really?
But yes, but what the things that made me not it's highly recommended. I'll just spoiler alert right there. It's highly recommended because of the comic book look and the beat 'em up style. It's just fun to play. But some of the combos were a little bit frustrating. There was a couple of little glitches here and there that were definitely there, and I had to restart the level. They weren't game breaking, but they were level breaking. Just enough there to make me go, not a perfect game. Not one that I'm like, oh my gosh, if I had to spend another $30 on it, which I didn't, it was $23. But if it was a $30 game, I may have been kicking myself. 20, absolutely. 30, maybe I'm just cheap.
No, it's a pretty short game, right?
It wound up being a very short game. I think maybe 3 hours.
I mean, to me, that's a great length for these kind of games. I get,
Yes.
you know,
And you'll see in my review when it hits that I wasn't complaining about the length because the repetition of the enemies, the beat 'em up style of the game, that can get old kind of quickly. I'm not sure if you played some of the other beat 'em ups that lasted 8 hours or something.
oh
like that.
yeah,
It's like, oh my gosh, come on. How many times am I gonna have to do this? It's just a grind. This
yeah.
was
I
not
had
a
in my
grind.
mind I was gonna go through Shredder's Revenge as each of the turtles, and then as April and Casey Jones, and I was like, I think I'm good, guys. I think I'm good. I like this, but I'm good. So
No, I did not feel that way. In fact, I would like to try it again with the Diana, the wife character, and see if the game is any different that way.
very cool. So needless to say, it sounds like you recommend this one.
Yes, absolutely. $23, maybe a bit much for a 3 hour game, but there is retail playability. And if you're into co-op especially, I think this would be a lot of fun.
Do you know if it has online co-op available or if you have to be playing couch?
I think it is couch. I didn't
Bummer.
see any options for online.
Bummer if that's true. All
I
right.
could be
Well,
wrong.
again,
I could double check and update.
Well,
All
that's just because Scott doesn't have anybody to play with.
I gotta scour the internet to find someone to play with, before they get to know me and can tell me no. You know what I mean? So, all right, that is the Phantom. Thanks, Mark, for checking that one out, and thanks to both of you for stopping by. I appreciate you checking out these games. They both sound really interesting. So we'll catch you next time. All right.
Sure.
Thanks for having me.
All right, later. There you go. Thank you, gentlemen. As always, greatly appreciate it. Moving on, want to remind everybody about our website, thegamingoutsider.com. If you can do us a favor, check it out. We have put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into writing reviews, writing news articles, and trying to make the Gaming Outsider a great place to get information on new and upcoming games, as well as things happening in the industry. So please check it out, thegamingoutsider.com. And with that, we're going to go ahead and jump into our From the Outside In topic. All right. For this week's From the Outside In topic, we wanted to talk about fan-made games. An easy example, you guys heard me talk about it pretty much every week for the past couple months, is Brandon Smith's Final Fantasy Renaissance, which we've talked about at length. For those who aren't familiar, he built the game from the ground up, coding every single thing in the game, fixing bugs, adding new classes and gameplay elements, and even adding achievements. It's more of a passion project for him since he obviously can't sell it without getting in trouble from Square Enix. But it got us thinking of what other passion projects we've experienced over the years. So I want to ask you guys, what are some of your favorite fan-made games from over the years? I think even when I posted this on social media, I said even like including mods. So what have you loved that fans actually added to games or recreated from familiar games?
I felt when you posted this topic, I already kind of felt bad because I don't feel like I have a lot of experience with fan-made games, and so I tried to look some up in the hopes that I was incorrect. And I gotta tell you, man, this is just not an avenue for me. This is something like I've always heard, about tangentially, and there's some cool ones that have come out, or well, come out for like 2 days before they get nuked, like another Metro 2 remake.
That's on my list.
But usually I see these things from afar. Black Mesa was another one. It was like a Half-Life remake, although actually Valve actually like gave them the green light and told them they could actually publish it as a Half-Life remake. And though that's a cool story, and I always pay attention to those stories, but I don't feel like I've ever actually gone through the trouble of downloading them. And I think it's because mostly they were been on PC,
right,
and I've been so Mac dependent because people keep giving me free Macs, so it'd be silly to get a PC. That that I've never really had a chance to experience them. And then now I have a Steam Deck, so I guess I get to open up the world a little bit more, like KOTOR 2 with the lost content mod that I was telling you about.
Right.
That makes substantial changes to the game. It adds in a bunch of voice lines that were cut, a whole dungeon that got cut, fixes the ending. So I like that's super cool. Fallout London, that's another like really exciting example of fans. And maybe I would check that out if they get it running on Fallout 4 again. But on the whole, I feel kind of like bad because I don't really know much about this.
I didn't even think
world.
about it from that perspective. That like you said, it's mostly on PC, and like to put these kinds of things on a PC or on a Steam Deck is not just install, double click to play. You know what I mean? There's a lot more things going on. I think, Jake, you helped me get Final Fantasy Renaissance on my Steam Deck because I couldn't follow instructions correct, and you had a backdoor way to do it because he's a PC guy. You know, like it's
and I'm
so,
similar to you. I'm just dumb when it comes to this stuff, right? This is just not where I'm one of those silly console boys. I like to put in the disc and then it goes.
Yes. I like to spend my time playing the games, not getting them running.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And I do love like fan projects where you can tell like Freedom Planet is a game that is just basically just Sonic, but you know, with a legally separated Sonic, or Darksiders where it's like, well, this is just straight up Zelda 1-to-1, but legally distinct. You know, I love those kind of things, but in terms of fan,
I mean, there were elements that were 1-to-1. It's not like you were playing Zelda. You know what I mean? Like,
I guess.
It wasn't like the map was the same. You had a boomerang and skulls.
Well, it's actually dun, 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 dun. But yeah, they did have. Really? They had it. Yeah, they had a puzzle chime, or a chess chime. Yeah, shout out to Darkside. I mean, you had a straight up fairy guy.
Oh yeah, but he had the voice of Mark Hamill instead of "Hey, listen."
So it's so much better than Navi, no doubt.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Jake? Did you play any?
Zach, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, what about you, Jake? I assume you have more knowledge of this than I do.
Actually, I don't, unfortunately. When it comes to fan-made games, I guess I wasn't on the lookout for anything that was made, you know, in that style. I guess I've played small indie games on the computers for years, but I've never even thought of once of playing a game that was from a third party that wasn't the developer itself.
Boy, I picked a great topic this week.
I'm sorry.
It's better that we're honest, right? Than just
totally. I feel my fault.
But that being said, with the like actual games themselves, like I love the modding community. Having these, you know, small quirks or things that aren't completely, or maybe just some quality of life stuff where somebody in the background goes, hey, here's a mod for this, here's a mod for that, here's this, or you know, they go completely out of the way to be completely silly. And there's, I think CB had brought up Thomas the Tank Engine as being what was that?
Resident Evil 2 remake.
Okay, because I've seen
Skyrim.
a mod, or I've seen it on Skyrim. I've also seen all the dragons be Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah, that's all Chris's. You're basically reading his comment at this point.
Oh, did he comment down here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, there's lots of them out there that are like that, and it's I don't know. I think it adds a level of just hilarity to games that may be a little bit more seriously or that can't take themselves.
Yeah.
It takes the edge off a little bit.
To me, mods are kind of like a modern day Game Genie, like a ways to take a game that you've already exhausted and adding more fun to it in goofy ways.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The Macho Man Randy Savage one, for those of you listening, if you have not seen, just go YouTube and look up Skyrim Macho Man. It is so funny because it's the whole opening scene of like, oh, you're finally awake. And then like dragons just show up and they're all like, ooh, it's so funny. And there's something genuinely creepy about Thomas the Tank Engine stalking you in Resident Evil. Like it's a cute train, but it looks creepy as hell.
Me and CB must have seen the same stuff. Yeah, I've just read it.
So I don't know. I have very little experience with mods. Like, because again, PC. There's hardly ever mods on console games. I know Xbox has started to do some of that, but I just never dive into it. But I have.
Well, they always have to be. They have to be curated and approved, right? So you would never get Thomas the Tank Engine, because I think Baldur's Gate 3 has mods on console, but it can't be like. Well, I was gonna say a nude mod, but that game already has that by default. So it can't be like something that would change an ESRB rating. You know, so it's so restrictive, is what I'm saying.
But why is that not a thing on PC? Like, why is it that because games on PC also have an ESRB rating?
Yeah.
I assume because Steam is a private company, doesn't have to care about investors getting mad that there's inappropriate content on the thing they're investing in.
Right.
So I have dipped my toe a little bit into the fan made games, and you already mentioned the one, dude. But another Metroid 2 remake. I went back to rewatch some gameplay from that game. That game looks freaking incredible. Like it looks like you're playing one of the GBA, like Zero Mission, or it just looks so good. I actually, like, in preparation for the show, I wanted to go kind of refresh myself of what that game looked like. I fast forwarded to the end to watch the final boss, and then like the whole ending of that game. It just looks. There's even like lore built into that game, like when you come across a new area, it has like text built in there that with little images, and it describes, because you didn't have that in the original in Metroid 2. There is no text at all except for press start to save. Like that was all you had in that entire game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like you could actually get a little history of each of the Metroids and the metamorphosis and stuff, and that just looked really good. A couple others on my list. I don't know if you guys remember. The reason this one stood out to me is because we covered this back on my official Thread podcast days. Like this is before the Gaming Outsider. This is like my other gaming podcast that we try to take off the ground. A Bobo's Big Adventure, which is somebody took Double Dragon. A Bobo was one of the bad guys. You know those big hulking guys in Double Dragon, and they made a game where you played as a Bobo. Like, so you were playing as the villain going through, but there was like goofy stuff going. It wasn't just a straight like Double Dragon remake. They added a bunch of other stuff, and it was hilarious. Like they brought in characters from other video games, and yeah, go look up that trailer. It's genuinely hilarious. Super Mario Brothers Crossover is another one where it's just Super Mario Brothers, like the original one on Nintendo, but they let you play as other characters from the Nintendo library, like the original characters from the 8-bit. So you can play as Link, you can play as Mega Man, you can play as one of the Contra brothers, you can play as Samus. Like, so you're going through doing the same things that you do in Mario, but you're just playing it as these other characters with these cool abilities and seeing what happens when you get a fire flower. It's like if you're Samus, get a fire flower, you now have the flamethrower, gun that she had or whatever. It's just
a fun idea.
It's just clever. And the last one that I had was Tecmo Super Bowl. If you remember Tecmo Super Bowl, the football game on NES, and then there was Tecmo Super Bowl, or it was Tecmo Bowl and then Tecmo Super Bowl and Tecmo Super Bowl 3, and like they kept iterating and whatnot. But Tecmo Super Bowl is a super fun football game, but if you play it now, it has old team names and made up players from that era. Well, I didn't realize this until today, that there is a website called TecmoSuperBowl.org that basically updates the roster to Tecmo Super Bowl consistently. Like they had updates today that I saw, I believe, on the website.
Wow.
There you go.
You can go play the original Tecmo Super Bowl, but you can have it with current rosters, so you can play as the team that you want, and you can play as the players. I just thought that was, I just love that still exists.
I love that this stuff exists. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Like how often would I play it? Like if I were gonna play that would be like a thing I'd do for like an hour, some weekend, and then I can never touch it again. Which makes me feel bad because that dude, those guys, whoever is all in this community doing this, have put scores of hours into making this thing happen, and I'm gonna play it for 45 minutes. You know what I mean?
But you got 45 minutes of joy.
Yeah,
I'm sure they'd be happy to hear that. But what really confounds me about the people who make Nintendo fan games is, why do you bother? Because
Right.
you know it's just going to get legaled out of oblivion. I mean, that's a chance you take with any fan made game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even though you're not selling it, right? So you'd probably be protected legally, genuinely, right? They would have to prove that you're somehow damaging the brand.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not getting the odds of one of these fan creators having the millions of dollars it takes to fight Nintendo seems low. So it feels like you're just kind of dooming yourself, right?
You put all this work into actually not sell anything, but maybe there's something.
You're not even gonna be able to share it because like another Metroid 2 remake's a great example where I think there was a Pokemon one, Prism or something, that like these games, they come out for about 4 minutes and then they just get obliterated from the internet.
It's like download it quick before it gets pulled.
Right. And I guess it's true you can never take anything off the internet for real.
Mhm.
So you could probably still find these things. It's just
It's
I don't know,
online.
like why spend 2 years, 2 or 3 years of your life making a fan game that can only exist for 15 minutes. I just don't
It's like
understand
the
it.
definition of passion, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because you have to know that's going to happen.
Right. But you do it anyway.
My favorite are the stories where something like this happens and then it gets the attention of the initial developer and then they put them to work or they make it
Yeah.
happen. Let me read Kevin's comment here. He gets to my point here in a second, but I'm gonna read his whole comment first. He says, I have a feeling Final Fantasy Renaissance will have already been discussed here, so I'll speak on a different experience, Sonic Mania. No, Sonic Mania isn't a fan-made game. However, the entire team was built of fan game developers by Sonic Team. People that created their own Sonic games and mods because they love the IP actually got a job to make a licensed game. I haven't heard of that happening any other time. It's just such a cool, feel-good story. That's what I'm talking about. Like,
Yeah.
this is like genuinely what I'm hoping happens to Brandon. I hope somebody at Square Enix says, what you're doing is awesome. We're gonna take this and we're gonna make this happen, and we want you to do it for the other 5. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
And then he's just set for his career for the next 10 years. You know what I mean? Like, or how I imagine it would take even longer than that to do all 5. I don't know. I'm not a developer. I have no idea, but it has to take an insane amount of work to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
That'd be pretty cool.
I hope it pays.
No, the
But-
Sonic Mania
but-
has always been such an awesome story.
But these people actually want people to. They hire people who like the game, and the developers nowadays don't seem like they like their games.
Well, you got to remember, like, games today are a lot more of larger teams, right?
Oh,
It is people that are doing it. There are people that are definitely passionate about it, but I have to imagine when you have such a large group of people all working on one project at the same time, that not everybody is as passionate about it as when you had those smaller teams back in the 8-bit days.
Well, but then didn't they fire Henry Cavill because he wanted to make a game that was more, or make the show more accurate to the source material? And they were like, "Well, we can't have that." And so, if you, as a fan, started working for them, you're just going to question their outfit,
Mm-hmm.
and so you're going to go against them eventually because they're going to do something that you don't like. It'd be the same way as I could never work for Capcom because I would burn down the building.
Because of Monster Hunter.
We're going to do this to Monster Hunter. No, you're not.
I got a couple comments to share from the YouTube listeners. First off, Paul Hines said, so many fantastic mods for Star Wars Empire at War, tapping into the EU content and Legends. We got games that Disney owned Star Wars would never give us.
I gotta look
there.
into that, man, because that EU had some good stuff. Like if there's a mod that involves a Yuzan Vong, I might actually buy their. Well, I don't know if there's anywhere to buy Empire at War anymore, but it would surely make me want to play it on Steam Deck. Because
Was Empire at War an RTS, or am I misremembering?
Yeah, it was. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But dude, I mean, the New Jedi Order era, phenomenal books.
Yeah.
You know, if they got something tapping into that, I'm all in.
Another one from Sean Coates. He says someone made a 2D Super Mario platformer based on the old 80s Super Show cartoon. That's hilarious.
It sounds wretched.
It sounds like something that would be on CDI Phillips.
yes.
Anyway, Paul said that's on Steam, so you can go check out Empire Worm. I don't know how well an RTS would play on a Steam Deck.
Well, because I played so like a little bit of a classic like Baldur's Gate. You just have to use the touchpad as your mouse, basically.
Okay, I
Like the
tried
early
that
Baldur's
with
Gate
Fallout, and it did not work at all. Like the original
The
Fallout,
first
like Fallout.
Yeah, I guess it just depends on the game. Well, it depends on because a lot of some games, like a developer sneaks in there and does an update, or there's a good community layout. Like it can definitely exist. I don't know I don't know if the support's there for Fallout 1.
Right. So are there any games that you guys would like to see somebody with more talent than us tackle? Like just take something and rip it apart and have fun with it? Yes, no?
Yes.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that, but
Go ahead, Zach.
Someone make a Green Lantern game. I'll
Mm.
figure out how to play a fan game for that. Because Lord knows DC ain't going to do it.
Well,
You know,
after
the
the movie, I
closest-
think they're afraid to touch anything with it,
I
right?
say the closest we got was the Ryan Reynolds tie-in game, and that was a very cheap God. It was a competent God of War clone, but it was just a classic God of War clone.
Yeah.
So I think there's room out there for like I would think the only way to really do Green Lantern's powers in a way that's going to feel satisfying is some kind of turn-based game, whether it's a tactics game or like a turn-based RPG. Because the only way you're going to get the constructs working in an interesting way, I
Yeah.
think.
What was
or
the
the
XCOM
easiest
game
way.
that came out recently? No, that was Marvel, wasn't it?
Oh, Marvel Rivals.
No,
Yeah.
not Rivals. The one that was like XCOM. Remember
not Rivals. You're right. I'm sorry. Midnight Suns.
Midnight Suns,
Yeah, that was a
maybe
fun
like
game.
a DC style game of that,
Sure.
and have
Yes, I
Green
would.
Lantern in there.
I'd obviously be all over that. But you could do just a Green Lantern game. The Green Lantern Corps. Maybe you get some of the other, Spectrum colors in there. But dude, I would.
Like,
I would
what
eat
kind of
that
game
up.
would you want? Would you want like a third person brawler? Would you want a turn-based thing? Would you want to I don't know. I don't know Green Lantern enough to know how the powers work. I just know that he can summon anything with his ring, right?
Yes, and that's why I think a kind of an XCOM style game would be good, because especially you could, if you use elevation, maybe because he can fly. Maybe you could do
Okay.
something like kind of a 3D space. But you could use the constructs to kind of push people around the map and stuff. That's how I'm envisioning it anyway. Like Hal Jordan calls in a steam train or something, and it knocks the enemy back a few spaces or something like that. I think
Gotcha.
a fan could do that. Or
I think
just DC.
I was
That'd
going
be
to say,
nice.
just let them do it.
Right, I'd be into that, but I don't know, man. Warner Brothers games, it isn't exactly on sure footing.
Yeah.
They're out there canceling Wonder Woman games.
I was going to say, if Wonder Woman's not going to happen.
Yeah, dude, I can't imagine they're going to get to Green Lantern anytime soon.
Green Lantern, I know nothing about that character, that lore, or anything.
I got a couple comics I could send you.
You're not going to send me comics.
I'll do it.
I'll figure out. You tell me which ones to read, and I'll figure it out. I don't want you to send me anything, but ones that
you sound like I'm threatening you with comics.
That's just those are valuable things in your collection.
My comics.
I would send you the collections, the graphic novels.
Oh, okay. If it would give me a good background and
Green Lantern comics are not worth money, man. Don't worry about it.
Oh, they're not?
No.
Oh.
No.
One of my best friends 20 years ago collected nothing but Green Lantern. Anything and everything Green Lantern. He had just I got in the habit of anytime I went to a place that sold comics to thumb through looking for every Green Lantern thing, and I just assume it's been so long that they would have to be worth something by now, but
he sounds like a cool guy, this friend of yours.
He wasn't. More on that later.
Okay.
I would see. I feel like we've been asking for this forever, but can't somebody make a Zelda dungeon maker? Wouldn't it be cool to go make your own Zelda dungeons?
Yeah,
with all those tools that they have, the weapons and everything, and not just because I'm terrible at building that kind of stuff, but I want to go play other people's Zelda levels. You know what I mean?
Oh, end up with some Mario Maker.
Well, I don't want. I'm not one that wants the super hard ones,
right? Rip line.
Oh man, wasn't there a fan made Mega Man level creator? Didn't somebody make that?
Well, I know Mega Man Powered Up on the PSP had a level editor.
Okay. I'm talking I want the original, the 8-bit ones.
I want
to play, that's where I want to see the super tough ones that Jake is talking about, in the Mario Maker ones. I still see those videos on TikTok every once in a while. And I'm like, how do people enjoy playing those? It's just beating your head against the wall until you finally get that one run. It gets to the point that I don't know how much you guys scroll through TikTok. I got better at it, and then they let me re-download it on my phone again, and that was a mistake. But if you come across one and it says live on it, I'm not watching. I'm only interested in watching you do the one where you're completing it.
The last one.
Yeah. And So that like if it's a recorded one, I know this is going to be the one he's going to get. But anyway, all right. We said a couple comments
Oh,
already. Oh,
hey,
Jay,
hold on.
did you come with one? I'm sorry.
Yes. There was a game that lived and died on PlayStation 3 and is not able to be found anywhere else, and that's Tokyo Jungle. And I
Oh, yeah, I
would
remember.
love for somebody to remake that game and just make it available, because that was it was just a time dump, and it was great. You just played as random animals and changing generations and upgrading your character by doing random missions throughout the map and stuff, and it was just great. And then yeah, they never continued it. They never released it anywhere else.
I remember
So,
that game. It's just a little downloadable game, right? It wasn't even
yeah,
there wasn't even a disc for it.
nope.
Totally stranded.
I have a PS3 with that copy on it.
Oh, look at you! You could probably sell that for $50,000. Like,
Yeah, okay, because people are dying to find. It's not Flappy Bird.
I wonder how much
Man,
PT goes for these days.
oh man, remember? I had a PS4 that had PT on it. You remember when we decided to do a stream outside, like the Gaming Outsider, and I was playing Ghost of Tsushima, and plugged it in, got it all set up, and all of a sudden my PS4 just like took a dump, like right in the middle of midstream. Yeah, that had PT on it, and I never and
Brutal.
Oh,
yeah, that was a
that
bummer.
sounds terrible.
All right, let's go ahead, and we got a couple other comments left. First one comes from Aaron Hughes. The second, he says, I recently started dabbling in Final Fantasy Renaissance, and so far I'm enjoying myself as much as I can with hella retro games. If you're into old Final Fantasy games and haven't tried it yet, you're missing out on a great experience. He goes on to say, modded Fallout 4 is great, and do whatever you want with it, but make sure you have sim settlements too. Really ups the game in some super fun and appreciated ways. I also recently discovered Baldur's Gate 3 has mod support, and there are some bangers in there. My current favorites are the Necromancy editions, the PHP 2024 updates, and the custom party sizes in combination with whole party and conversations. Desiree and I are having a blast playing again with the mods. Yeah, some of that stuff is crazy. All the stuff I wanted to do with mods in games like that, I already can do with the base game. So
Custom party sizes. You run in there with
Necro.
8 people.
Can you be a necromancer in base Baldur's Gate 3 or only with this mod?
I didn't know. I don't know enough. I've only played as one character type, so
Yeah, dude, to me,
I
a
don't remember
necromancer would be sweet.
Necromancer being a
Negatory.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Zach, you
Jumping
want to read the
over-
last comment?
Yeah, jumping over to Discord, Sean Coates wrote in, someone went all out and recreated every single level from GoldenEye using Far Cry 5's in-game level editor in the arcade mode, which lets players build and share custom maps. They put in a ton of effort to make everything look and feel like the original game, but with Far Cry 5's better graphics and tools. I've been playing GoldenEye for close to 30 years now and have those levels ingrained in my head, and I can vouch for how perfectly accurate they are. So accurate, in fact, that the MGM Studios slapped a cease and desist on Ubisoft to have them removed. But luckily, they have since been re-uploaded. Seriously, boot of Far Cry 5 right now. It's on Game Pass, and see for yourself. Just do search for GoldenEye and the level name.
Wait, you can do that on console?
Yeah, because I think it's just maps that you're sharing.
Oh
Because
man,
me and my buddy used to make maps in Far Cry 1 on the original Xbox. I remember.
oh
But
wow,
not GoldenEye maps though.
dude, I want to go see that because man, I
Play some-
wonder if they do the music. Can they do the music?
There's no way. No.
Yeah. Oh, that's too bad. All right, well, guys, that was awesome. Thank you to everybody that wrote in with comments. Thank you to Zach and Jake for being here. Next week, I haven't even told these guys yet, but we are going to have a couple of special guests next week. A couple of music guys. Jake, you've met with one of them.
Oh, okay.
There is an upcoming performance in Rockford for the Rockford Symphony Orchestra. They are doing a jazz ensemble with the Rockford Symphony Orchestra playing video game music. And we are going to have the conductor and the guy in at the head of, he's the drummer for the jazz band. We actually met with him recently, and they're going to come and talk about that and just do a full episode with us. So stay tuned for that next week.
That's pretty cool.
That is awesome, and I think we'll do a topic focused on, bands that we can recommend that do video game music. Like Stemmage, like bands that we've had at R2V2 and things like that. So We'll definitely have a music-centric episode next week, so stay tuned to Facebook, Discord, and Twitter. We would love to hear recommendations from everybody and maybe some questions for these guys about what they're doing. So stay tuned for that. We're looking forward to that. But that is going to do it for this episode of The Gaming Outsider. Thanks so much for listening. Kevin Honigford is the producer of this episode, and all the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemage and Metroid Metal. His website, as always, is stemagemusic.com. Please check it out. He's got some awesome stuff in the works. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Jacob, you got any recommendations for us? Any parting words? Anything you'd like to say to the audience before we get out of here?
I love you.
Oh my! And we're gonna get some oil for your chair,
Dude, for real. Oh
my bad. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize it was that big of an issue.
I can hear Kevin yelling at me already about your chair. So
Do you think he's
can't
gonna
yell
yell
at
at
you,
you?
dude.
He's gonna yell at me.
Yeah, it's not your fault.
He's gonna come directly to me.
all right,
Yeah,
Zach, what about you?
No, did I talk about juror number 2 last week? I don't remember.
I don't remember
Anyway,
I don't
saw
remember.
that.
Yeah.
That's like Clint Eastwood's latest movie, probably his last movie based on his age.
Mm.
Starring Nicholas Hoult, where he's a man on a jury for a murder case, but he realizes that on the night of the murder he was driving home drunk and may have actually been the person to kill this woman, basically.
Oh.
Because it's kind of up in the air. But the guy is like an abuser with a criminal history, so it's kind of the moral dilemma of, I think this guy might be innocent, but also he's a piece of crap. Like, what's the right thing to do? And it's an interesting moral dilemma, and it really has many twists and turns along the way. And I found it deeply compelling all the way to the finish. Really liked it a lot. So, juror number 2, it is on HBO, man. Yeah, if you like movies that'll make you think a little bit, that's a pretty good one.
You know, I'm glad you brought that up because I also have a movie that will make you think that's also available on HBO. If you have not seen this, Zach, you need to remedy this immediately. But I watched Heretic this past week.
No, I have
seen
not.
Heretic
This is
yet?
No, it's Hugh Grant, right?
Yes. Holy crap, dude. I was like, oh, this premise seems kind of interesting. I'll give it a shot. I was like riveted from start to end, and not in a horror kind of way like you kind of expect. So the premise of this movie is two girls from the I can't remember what basically Mormons, right? What is it? Church of Latter-day Saints, Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints, right?
Yeah.
You know how they go door knocking to like we called it soul winning when I was a kid. So these two girls show up at a house.
Soul winning?
Soul winning? What?
Whoa. What a term.
That's what it was called, dude.
Pump the brakes. What? I'm never calling it anything else ever again.
Amazing.
That's what it was called. Okay, dude. Growing up, 9:30 a.m. on Sunday school. 10:30 a.m. we had regular service. Sunday night at 6 o'clock we had another service. Tuesday night was soul winning, where we had to get in the car, go around town, and knock on people's doors and give them tracts and try to convert them. Wednesday we had a church service at 7:15. Friday morning at school we had a chapel. Like I was in church like for the majority of my childhood.
No wonder you're not religious now. Nobody would be after that. That's like a guaranteed way to unconvert somebody.
Which is interesting. So I know what you're going to think. The reason that I'm liking this movie is because of that. And honestly, that's what drew me to the movie, but it's not what I liked about it. So these two girls knock on Hugh Grant's door to talk about it. He invites them in, which is an issue because they're two women and they can't, be alone in the house with a man. You know what I mean? Okay. So that's all actually part of the story because he's got to get his wife and all this kind of stuff. But then
as part of the faith, they're not supposed to be alone with a man, or
correct. I mean, that was a thing growing up for me too. Like it was, you're men and women
can't be alone with a man.
Yes. So anyway, he sits down with these two girls and they start having a conversation about their faith, and it is in a shockingly fascinating conversation, and not in a. It's like he's challenging them, but he's not doing it in a haughty, holier than thou kind of way like most people do when they argue with someone that's very religious. He's just very matter of factly and very open and very kind but in a really creepy way. Like, something creepy is going to happen, right?
Yeah.
And then the story just branches and branches and gets crazier and crazier and crazier, and it just has this crazy ending. Like, I was shocked at how much I liked that movie. Go watch Heretic when you get a chance, and please let me know what you think, because
All right.
the conversations are great, and the one of the girls is really good at coming back and answering without being super defensive. So it's like they're actually having a real conversation about religion, which nobody does anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I
super
mean?
cool, yeah. Mhm.
Like, and that was what drew me into it. And then it actually had some other fun stuff that happened that just made it super creepy. Go watch Heretic. It's really great. I want to go watch it again. Like, I really enjoyed it that much. It was good. So, and Hugh Grant, what a performance, dude. Because, like, you're used to Hugh Grant as being like, the rom-com with Julia Roberts.
Right.
And
Very, very charming kind of
goofy.
guy.
Yeah. And he
Prime
is
Minister.
charming. Oh, God. And he is charming, but in a very creepy way it's just so good. Okay. I'm done talking about that. Also, Coheed and Cambria's new album dropped on Friday. Give it a listen. No idea what's going on with the story. They haven't dropped the lore book yet. That's coming out next month. So stay tuned for that. But the album, it took me a couple listens to really grab onto it, but it's not as good as the last one, but it is still really, really good. I feel like the best songs were the ones they released before the album came out. But the whole thing is growing on me, definitely. So check that out. It's really cool too, because they do a bunch of like subtle callbacks to past albums, like some of the themes musically that were in the other albums make an appearance here, which is really cool. And the last track, the finale of the album it sounds like if Coheed wrote a Beatles song, which is goofy anyway, and it's awesome.
Right.
But then when it's done, they do this orchestral thing at the end using themes from this album and previous albums. And I swear it sounds like you're watching the closing credits to a Final Fantasy game. Like, it sounds that epic. It's really, really cool. So check out, and it's a crazy dichotomy going back and forth between this like happy sounding Beatles-ish song to this orchestral fade out. It's just really, really cool. So, all right, I am done talking. I promise, guys. Thank you to everybody for listening. Thank you, Zach, for being here. I appreciate it. As always, good to see you after a month.
Of course, yeah, dude. I missed you. I miss you no longer. We're all good.
You're all done being missing me. Jake, thanks for being here, man. I appreciate all the work you do, and that you continue to play racquetball with me.
I could never get sick of hearing your voice, Scott.
You wish you knew how to quit me? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, boy.
All right, until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Zach Parkerson, Jake Gunderson, and not Chris Behrensmeyer. Sorry, he's not available today. But we are the Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you. See you later, guys.